How's it going, everyone? It's Warren, and it's time for Theory Thursdays on a Friday. I pushed it back because of the awesome Avengers Endgame second official trailer that we got yesterday. I was super excited to hear everybody's theories about what is going on in this trailer, what everybody thinks is happening, and what everybody thinks is going to happen in Avengers Endgame. But before we go into these theories, a big shout out and congratulations to Aiden Jost for being the winner of February. Aiden won week 3 and the month of February with his theory on how Avengers Endgame is going to go down, which includes a big Infinity Stone battle at the end of the movie. Congrats Aiden, you get a gift card for 2 IMAX tickets. Alright, let's kick off week 2 of March with some awesome theories about the Avengers Endgame trailer that was shown yesterday. Theory number 1 comes from Chris, and he thinks that AntMan is going to play a huge role in Avengers Endgame. Chris says, I think AntMan is going to play a major role in Endgame. In my theory, he escapes the quantum realm at least 1 to 2 years into the future, when Nat's hair is the long red braid. He rushes to the home of Cassie and her parents to realize it's been empty for a while. The lawn and hedges are very overgrown, trash is heaped on the curb, and old weathered missing person posters cover every space on the pole. He goes back to his office, he goes back to his home, he tries to find somebody that can fill him in. I think he finds Cassie, who tells him what she knows, and Scott realizes he has to get to the Avengers. He learns though they had already tried to fight Thanos with new help months after the snap and failed again, and no one has heard from them since. Scott decides to return to the quantum realm and take a new vortex and get out closer to the snap. Either through hit and miss or guidance from somebody inside of the quantum realm, perhaps Doctor Strange, Scott gets out 3 months after the snap. He drives across the country and gets to the Avengers headquarters where Nat's hair is still short and blonde. Tony, Nebula, and Captain Marvel have already arrived. He's suddenly in on the initial battle against Thanos because it's about to happen when he gets there before he has time to tell them all that he knows. After their loss again, they are now ready to listen to Scott's information. He brings with him Pym particles, his suit, and possibly directions from contact with Hank through a past time vortex on how to create the suits. Tony takes off and develops a multi-purpose quantum realm / space suit for all of the Avengers while Nat goes to find Clint, Thor and Rocket find Valkyrie, and Captain Marvel recruits Skrull and other cosmic allies. So, this is Chris's theory, and I think that it makes a lot of sense. Primarily because I don't think Ant-Man is going to get it right jumping through a time vortex the first time. He's not going to automatically land in the perfect time. He's going to get it wrong at first, because at first he won't have any control over the time vortex. But I agree that he will eventually have control over a time vortex somehow, and that is when he'll go to the Avengers headquarters and fill them in on everything. And I do personally think that the Avengers are going to fight Thanos more than once in Avengers Endgame. I do think they'll lose at first. So I think that this theory makes a lot of sense. So that's theory number 1, on to number 2. Number 2 comes from Andrew Gutierrez, and Andrew has a theory about Hawkeye in the Avengers Endgame trailer. Andrew says that in the trailer when we see Hawkeye with his daughter shooting the bow and arrow, I believe that this is the scene in the movie where they will show Hawkeye's family get dusted. This is where we get the backstory of him taking on the Ronin persona. It fits well with everything because it would stay within the first 15 to 20 minutes of the movie as well. He isn't a part of the first theorized battle with Thanos just like Ant-Man, and this will give the opportunity to fill in info with what happens to Hawkeye during and after the events of Infinity War, leading up to when he meets with Natasha in Japan. I agree with this theory. I think that's exactly why they showed us this scene in the trailer, because in this scene we're going to see Hawkeye lose his family to the snap. And of course they'll tell the story about how Hawkeye becomes Ronin in Avengers Endgame, and they'll definitely tell us what he was up to during the events of Infinity War. So that's theory number 2, on to theory number 3. Theory number 3 comes from Atolf, and Atolf says that we know by rumors that in Endgame, Tony and Bruce and maybe Shuri will join forces to build a weapon which can harness the power of the Infinity Stones to reverse Thanos' snap. But they don't know how to build it, as the gauntlet was also not capable and it was destroyed after the snap. So Bruce and Tony will work on Loki's Scepter, which Atolf thinks we can see in the background of this scene right here from the trailer. They'll work with the Scepter because it used to contain an Infinity Stone, the Mind Stone. They brought it to the Avengers headquarters so they can try and understand the mechanism of it because it used to contain an Infinity Stone. So that's Atolf's theory, and there is definitely something in the background of this scene. If the Avengers have Loki's Scepter somehow, it would make sense that they would study it. Not only did it contain an Infinity Stone, but it did harness the power of it. So this definitely makes a lot of sense if that is Loki's scepter in the back. The Avengers are going to have to figure out some way to harness the power of the Infinity Stones if they want to use them. So that's it for theory number 3, on to theory number 4. Number 4 comes from MJ, and MJ has a theory about the Hulk coming back. MJ thinks that the scene with Rocket on Rhodey's shoulder and Nebula screaming from the trailer yesterday is when they first fight Thanos in Avengers Endgame. They lose the fight and Banner still can't get the Hulk out, so he asks Tony and Nebula to help him out. They use some technology and merge the two into one, and that Hulk is Professor Hulk. Then Professor Hulk gets in his quantum suit, time travels, and we see him run with the Avengers in Wakanda like we saw in the trailers for Infinity War, and Hulk finally gets his rematch. I like this theory. I like that the Hulk still doesn't want to come out. He didn't want to come out at the end of Infinity War, and not much time will probably have passed from that time and another fight with Thanos. And the technology aspect is kind of what makes Professor Hulk, Professor Hulk. In the comics, he's actually known as the Merged Hulk for a while. And I am one of those people who thinks that the footage that we saw for the Avengers Infinity War trailers with the Hulk running in Wakanda could show up in Avengers Endgame. And I definitely think that by the end of Avengers Infinity War, the Hulk is going to get his rematch with Thanos. So that is theory number 4, on to the final theory number 5. Theory number 5 comes from RPM Newbie Pro. And RPM's theory is that Thor will search for Eitri in order to forge more weapons. Now that we know that Thanos will hold his double-edged sword and the Infinity Hammer thanks to some leaks, we know that Eitri is indeed active. I believe that considering we saw that Captain America is a little bit worthy to move Mjolnir in Age of Ultron, maybe he will receive a weapon of his own. And perhaps Carol Danvers will receive a great weapon as well. This is something that I've actually talked about before and agree with. In the Fear Itself story, the Avengers actually travel to Nidavellir. Odin grants them permission to the Forge, and all of the Avengers get new weapons made out of Uru metal. I don't think that all of the Avengers will travel to Nidavellir, but it does make sense that Thor would go there and try and get new weapons, especially if he thinks that Captain Marvel or Captain America is strong enough to wield them. So I think this could very well happen in Avengers Endgame. So that is it for this week's theories. Let's do a quick recap. Theory number 1 was about Ant-Man going through the time vortex, finding the Avengers eventually, fighting with them and losing to Thanos, and then telling them about the time vortex. Theory number 2 stated that in the Avengers Endgame trailer that we just got yesterday, in the scene with Hawkeye and his family, this is the scene where we see him get dusted. Theory number 3 was about Loki's scepter and how the Avengers would be studying it because it wielded an Infinity Stone, and that it is also in the Avengers Endgame trailer. Theory number 4 is about how the Avengers will go fight Thanos early on in the movie, but the Hulk still won't come out. So with the help of Tony and Nebula, we get Professor Hulk. And theory number 5 was about Thor going to Nidavellir to get more weapons for the rest of the Avengers. So those were this week's theories. Be sure to vote on which one you thought was your favorite. And if you would like to submit a theory of your own for your chance to end up in an episode of Theory Thursdays, you can find the email to send it to and the instructions in the description down below. Again, don't forget to vote on which one was your favorite, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel to stay up to date on Theory Thursdays and everything related to Marvel. As always, thank you all so much for watching. Woof woof.